When I was in my early 20s, I worked for Fastenal, and that gave me the opportunity to go into a lot of different industrial operations. I had the job of restocking the vending machines. So, if you're familiar with those, manufacturers use them in their shops where their employees can enter their employee ID number and they can vend whatever they need for their job. So, whether that is new welding gloves or tips or safety equipment, masks, anything like that. It helps with inventory tracking and then also OSHA compliance and things like that. So, one of the shops on my route was a steel fabricator. They took raw steel and they turned it into pallet holding structures. It was really cool walking around that shop because they had all of the welders set up in one area, of course, and they're working on individual pieces. And then they had the painting area where these huge pieces would be like, I call it the crane machine, but from the ceiling, like pulley systems that were like lifting these big pieces and they were dipping them into the paint. There was other specialized areas of the shop where people were doing different tasks. So I got to see a lot of the operation of this manufacturer. And one thing that always stood out were the signs all over the shop. I mean, there would be giant signs like hanging from the rafters about safety. You know, it's been this many days without incidents, or make sure you have your safety goggles on, things about PPC. So, one thing that I always thought when I went in there, even back then, because my dad had already started Total Care IT at this point, was I wonder why the same priority isn't put into cyber safety. Obviously, when you're working in a machine shop or in a manufacturing environment, physical safety is a top priority. There are so many moving pieces, parts, heavy machinery, the pulleys from the ceiling, you have forklifts going in and out, carrying things. So you always need to be on constant lookout for your surroundings, of course. But the same really goes for cybersecurity. It may not seem like a big deal when you get that phishing email and you accidentally click a link, but it's really hard to tell what the repercussions of that will be. So one thing that we do at Total Care IT with our managed IT clients is we provide cyber security training for their employees. Personnel are the weakest link of any operation. That's not just for cybersecurity, so I'm sure you're well acquainted with that. So this is like weekly or bi-weekly or monthly training that is delivered to your employees' inbox. They click the link, go to the training, and at the end of their training, they take an assessment. And then they have the opportunity to download a certificate of achievement. This is really great for being able to track who on your team is getting their training done and who might need a little bit of remedial help if they're consistently scoring below average on those tests, or it seems like they're just rushing through them and not really reading. This type of training is also required for most cyber insurance policies. Typically, training is required annually, but we see the best results from companies who are doing cyber training monthly or twice a month. Another thing that I recognized pretty early on going into different manufacturing environments is the speed at which production is taking place mixed with the frequent occurrence of failures. So whether that is a machine breaking down, somebody not showing up for work, an accident happening, the metal manufacturing environment is not a sterile one. Things are always happening. We know that deadlines are super important and production and keeping to workflows. So it's not really a surprise that when something stops working or breaks down, there's a duct tape solution. And that is designed to keep things cobbled together and working until you can just make it through that shift. And then a longer term solution is figured out, of course. Sometimes the duct tape stays on for days though. As we go into manufacturing environments, we see that the IT setup is generally the same way. So maybe this was a firewall that was installed by somebody's cousin 15 years ago. Maybe your Wi-Fi doesn't reach all of the areas of your production floor. Maybe there's different rules set up for the front office as compared to the plant. And maybe things are just broken in general. Maybe your file sharing doesn't work. Maybe people are saving things to their desktops instead of saving them to a shared drive where everybody can access them. Maybe your backups aren't set up correctly, and so you're not able to access the most recent changes made to your design files. This is especially worrisome if something happens and the last backup that you had is from days ago and not just an hour ago. So what's great about Total Care IT is we walk into the manufacturing environment and we expect that not everything will be perfect. And that's okay. The idea is that you've made it to where you are, either on your own or maybe with the help of somebody in the past, and you're looking to progress and get to the next step. We work with you to create a 6 to 12 month roadmap for changes and improvements going forward. So if you have devices that are no longer functioning or they've reached end of life for their operating system, we will make sure it's on the plan to replace those devices going forward. Cybersecurity also goes on the plan. We look at budgeting. Maybe you need to do an email migration, you need 12 new workstations and a new server. So we don't have to do that all at once. We can break that out over 2 quarters or over 3 quarters, whatever works for your budgeting. I think one of the main problems that we see with IT providers is that they overpromise and underdeliver. So they come into your environment and they tell you all these things that you need, all these things that are going to work perfectly and run smoothly and, 100% uptime. I've seen that on some people's websites, 100% uptime. There's no way you can deliver 100% uptime. But anyways, and then they just leave you with this sense of lacking. Like, where did that go? All of that stuff in the sales presentation, where did it go? And the reality is that for manufacturing especially, the environment is not conducive to perfection. We know that you aren't looking for a miracle. You are looking for consistency. You're looking for systems that generally work. And you're looking for friendly support when things don't work. So if you're ready to work with an IT provider that truly understands the manufacturing environment, go ahead and reach out to us. If you're watching this on our website, there should be a form that you can fill out. When you submit that form, it will direct you to Aaron's live calendar where you can schedule some time to meet with him via a video call. If you'd prefer to meet in person, just go ahead and leave a note in the little message box of the form. If you're watching this somewhere other than our website, go ahead and head on over to our website at totalcareit.net, and we look forward to talking with you soon.